She was 9 years old when she went missing on Valentine's Day in 2000, which also happened to be her parents' wedding anniversary. She also had a brother, and I believe he was her younger brother. So on the day that she went missing, her dad worked 2 jobs, and he was working his second job that day. It was the evening shift job. And so her mom put both her and her brother to bed around 8:30 p.m. They slept in the same room. And shortly after that, the power went out in the neighborhood. It was a very big storm outside, a lot of wind, a lot of rain. And so the power had gone out. Now her father came home around 11:30 p.m. that night. The power was back on, and he checked on both kids, and they were both asleep in their bed. Now, obviously, coming off the late shift, he, wasn't tired yet. He decided to go watch some TV, and he went to bed around 2:30 a.m. Now, I've read conflicting things here because in the reports I've read, it said that he decided not to check on the kids again because he saw them asleep at 11:30 and that he just went to bed. But people discussing this case said, well, he checked on them at 2:30 a.m., so she must have gone missing later. I'm not sure about this part, but regardless, he went to sleep at 2:30 a.m. And somewhere during the night, she had pre-packed a bag. During the day, she got up, walked out of her house, and started walking along a really big road. It was a highway. So her mother the next morning went to wake up the kids. She wanted to give them a bath because they hadn't had their bath the night before. So she woke up at 5:30 a.m., decided to get ready and then draw the kids a bath. And she went to wake them up around 6 a.m. and only her son was in his bed. So she got her husband. He thought maybe she was across the street at his mother-in-law's house. So he called there, and she said that she hadn't seen Asha. Now her brother remembers hearing her move around somewhere during the night, but he thought she was just rolling over in bed and going back to sleep. So they called the police, and immediately, like a big search party was started. They arrived around 6:40 a.m. and like the parents, the whole family, the friends, they were all running around the neighborhood looking for her. Now, once her missing persons report had aired on TV, several calls started coming in about this case, and 2 drivers called in to say that they had seen her walking along the highway by herself at 4 a.m. Now, it begs the question why nobody called the police. You see a kid walking along alone at 4 a.m., you call the police. And some people said, well, maybe they thought it was just a really small woman, but one of the drivers said he turned around and went looking for her, and then he spoke to her and she panicked and ran into the woods. Again, he didn't call the police. Like, this is the typical bystander effect where everyone else thinks someone else will have called the police. So if you ever see something out of the ordinary, just call the police. Even if more people call the police, I'd rather have 10 people call them than nobody call them. Like, this case could have turned out so different if someone had called the police when they saw her. So people generally think that this was just a planned runaway because she had packed a bag and she was seen on her own. There was like nobody with her, but she was only 9 years old. I can understand that as a 9-year-old, you're feeling a little bit rebellious, or you had a fight with your parents and you're like, I'm gonna run away. But not for 18 years. Like, she was never found. So it's a bit bizarre that a 9-year-old would manage to stay hidden for that long. wasn't like, they were overbearing. Apparently they had, it was a really great family, so it was weird that Asha would have just decided to run away. So on February 17th, a few days later, they found some candy wrappers, a pencil, a pen, and a Mickey Mouse hair bow. And it was confirmed that they belonged to Asha. Now, they were found in a shed somewhere in those woods that driver saw her running into. So it was definitely confirmed that she was there in that shed. Then in August of 2001, so more than a year later, they found her book bag at a construction site. Now, it was buried in 2 trash bags. It was wrapped in 2 trash bags before it was buried. On the one hand, you think, okay, it was buried because they wanted to get rid of evidence, but on the other hand, it was so carefully buried. It was almost like they wanted it to be found in pristine condition. Now, it had several sets of clothes in it, Asha's basketball uniform, and pictures of her family, which again kind of indicates that she was definitely planning to run away because she took a picture of her family. Now, the FBI took the bag and ran tests on it, but they never released the results of these tests. And then in May of 2016, the FBI announced that they might have a new lead, and they asked the public to look for a car that several people said they saw Asha get into. Now, I don't understand why this took so long. Did these several people take 16 years to come forward? Or did the FBI always have this information but decided 16 years later to release it? Because in 2000, the Amber Alert was already up and running. So why, if people had mentioned it then, why didn't they set up an Amber Alert so people could look out for this car? And if they didn't know about it, why did several people take 16 years to come forward? I don't understand why 16 years later you would look for a car, especially because 16 years later this person is probably not going to have this car anymore, and B, there's actually a very good chance that it's been destroyed at this point. So that's so weird. So that's all the information there is. So I'm going to get into a couple of theories. The first 3 theories are all about her running away, just on her own decision. Now, the first theory is she was on a basketball team, and she had a basketball game a few days prior, and they lost. And apparently, a lot of the kids were so upset by this that they cried after the game. So a lot of people think that she was really upset that they lost a game. Maybe she felt it was her fault. Maybe she felt she let the team down and that she decided to run away. I personally don't believe this because this wasn't the first time that she played basketball. She was on this team. This cannot have been the first game that she ever lost. And her parents said they had no idea why she ran away because she seemed in very good spirits the next few days. So I don't think that days later she would have run away because of this lost game. It didn't seem like she was still that upset about it anyway. Then another theory is that she ran away to start a new life. Again, I don't believe this theory because she was only 9 years old. I understand that as a 9-year-old you run away, a lot of kids do that. But I don't think you're mature enough to do it with the idea of I'm going to start a new life, and also to remain hidden for 18 years when you're only 9 years old at the time. I don't see that happening. Also, why would her book bag have been buried in 2 trash bags? A, all her stuff was still in it. If she ran away to start a new life, she would have needed that stuff. And B, I don't think she would have meticulously wrapped them and buried them with a shovel and everything herself. I just don't see that happening as a 9-year-old. Then another theory is that she ran away for a short time, but then and she was met with foul play. So some people have said that she was reading a book in school about this girl or boy, a young child anyway, who ran away and then started all these like really cool adventures. And then, ultimately came back home. So people think that maybe that's what she wanted to do, that she loved this book so much that she decided she was going to pack up some things and run away for a couple of days to hopefully find adventure and then come back home. And then maybe she was picked up, by a stranger and met with foul play. I think this is possibly the most plausible theory because it's clear from all the evidence that she definitely walked out on her own and that she decided to run away. But seeing a kid on her own in the middle of the night is like a dream for predators. So I think it's very possible that this happened to her. And then another theory that I actually find very interesting, and I'm not ruling this out, is that she was groomed by an adult in her life, either a family friend, a teacher, a coach, a church leader, someone like that, and that they told her to meet them at a specific location, which is why she left in the middle of the night. Maybe they promised her like a vacation to like Disney World or like a sunny, warm place, not too far away from North Carolina, and that's why she left. People think this mostly because she didn't pack any winter clothes, and it was only mid-February, so they thought maybe she was promised that they would go somewhere warm. She was also wearing all white, which is kind of bizarre, and it could explain why she decided to leave in the middle of a storm. So it was really stormy outside. There was so much rain that night. If she chose to run away just on her own, just to go away for a couple of days, would she not have waited until the next night when the storm had passed? Like I said, the storm was so bad that the power went out at some point. So I do think this is also a plausible theory that she chose to leave on this specific night to meet someone. The strange thing is also that dogs couldn't pick up her scent when they were looking for her, and people said, well, it was raining, it washed everything out, but that's not how it works. Apparently dogs can pick up a scent much better when it rains, and they couldn't pick up her scent anywhere. So that's really all there is in this case. It's such a strange one because she was 9 years old and she packed a bag and left on her own in a very rainy night. So I don't know. The only thing that bothers me about the person that she was meeting is where would they have found her, because she was walking along this highway alone, so it could be that the person was running late. But then when someone else spoke to her, she panicked and ran into the woods, and she was obviously in the shed because her stuff was found there. There were no cell phones back in 2000, or kids didn't have cell phones back in 2000, so if she ran away in a panic and hid somewhere, how would this person that she was supposed to meet gonna find her and harm her? So I still think the most plausible theory is that she decided to run away for some adventure, and that she was met with foul play along the way, sadly. But I still find it strange that that backpack was buried so meticulously.